but he maintains his unbeaten record, and it's a treble for Willie Mullins and Ruby Walsh.
See the Stars wins a 4th Guineas for Mick Cannan.
Good evening, good afternoon. We're back for the first day of the flat season. Well, I suppose it's the second day if you include the Irish last week, but we'll call it the first day.
What a pity.
We'll get straight into it. We're going to go through a few races at Doncaster and then a couple elsewhere if we fancy anything. We'll go straight into the first race, which probably is the hardest race all season to find the winner, and that is the Brocklesby. Full of 2-year-olds. Everyone thinks they've got the best one, and here we find out. So, Ben, what do you think? Where are you putting your dart?
I don't have much of an opinion, to be honest. As you say, it's just a race full of unraced 2-year-olds. Okay, some nice pedigrees in there, but at the same time, you know, as you said, like everyone thinks their horse is an absolute rocket. They're all going to go out there thinking that, wait there, I'm going to piss up here by 3-4 lengths and the world's my oyster. But I think you've got an interesting stat to say you might actually want to win this race, do you?
Yeah. So we were just discussing before there. The last 3 winners have had 60. Is it 60 odd starts since? Or I'll go through it. Basically, is show me. Obviously, 2019's winner. There wasn't one last year because of the COVID. That was beaten all 13 starts since. Year before, Isa won and was beaten all 10 starts since. And then the year before that, Requinto Dawn won it, and I think he won once in his next 37 starts. So you don't necessarily want to be winning this if you think you've got a good horse.
Yeah, it's one of them.
Dan, have you got the winner?
No, I definitely haven't. I thought that I looked at obviously the race, and obviously, like you said, it wasn't run last year. So I looked at the last 3 runs really, and noticed that Richard Fye's won 2 of the last 3. Vintage Clarets, he's got in there. I would imagine that'll probably be towards the top of the market. He's by New Sire Ardad, isn't he? He's got Paul Hannigan up top, so he's
First
probably
runner for Ardad, I think.
Yeah, he's going to be pretty interesting. So, and then Mick Shannon won it a couple of years back and he's got Wonderful World in this race. He's booked James Doyle to ride that, so that's pretty interesting. And the only other one was the George Berry horse as well, because he does pretty well with his young ones, doesn't he? So they'd be the ones that I'd be looking at. I would imagine they'll probably be towards the top of the market, the 3 of them. I think the market will sort this race out really, given that it's, you know, around this time of year it's usually the vibes, and you know, market vibes, you have to go sort of with them, don't you? I thought that them 3 would probably be, the winner would come out of them 3, I thought. So that'd be Forker, Brazil, Vintage Clarets and Wonderful World. But like I say, look at the market on the day, really.
Yeah, I think I'm the same, really. I was looking at Vintage Clarets. There's a word that Force of Brazil's been going really well at home, but then again, you know, you get this from all of the runners. Just based on that, I would probably go for Force of Brazil, just because that's the only thing that I've heard. But apart from that,
Trust the word.
The bird is the word. No, apparently Ross Ryan sat on him this morning and said that he's going to win. Or well, he probably didn't say he was going to win. I'm just completely making that up for the title.
Wait there, I get on the Bet365 here.
Oh, you'll get SP.
Yeah, Force of Brazil for me.
Big stinking SP.
It's a token. Have you got a pick out in there, Ben? What are you going to have a stab at one?
I'll just stick with Force of Brazil. That's, you know, I heard you talking about earlier. And yeah, let's go. Let's jump on the hype train.
George Bowie's having a great little run at the minute as well, and the season's now only starting, so you could see that one going. And anyway, we'll move swiftly on to what some of us say is the hardest race of the day, and some of us say there's an absolute certainty. So I don't know what you think, Dan. So what do you reckon about the Doncaster Mile?
I thought this was pretty difficult, so I'm certainly not the one that was saying there's an absolute certainty.
That wasn't me either, so I assume it's George who thinks there's an absolute top job in this.
I looked at the favourite was Bounce the Blues for Andrew Baldwin. I would have gone against her. I thought she was pretty short given the form that she showed last season. She obviously progressed, but I don't think she's sort of at this level yet. She was second in a listed race, but that was a fillies race. She's up against the boys here, and a couple of them are pretty highly rated. Top Rank's pretty highly rated, isn't he? 111, but he's got a £5 penalty, so I sort of thought put a line through him. Montatham is took over favouritism now, which is not surprising because William Haggis he always starts the season off well, doesn't he? He started off the season well once again, and James Doyle's booked, so he's interesting. He was disappointing last season when he ran in this sort of grade. He'll be a better 5-year-old. And Space Traveller is the top rated horse. He carries the 9 stone. He's already twice a Group 3 winner, so he goes well on this ground. I didn't really see why he was 5-1. Obviously, Danny Tudhope rides Lord Glitters over in Dubai, so that's the reason he won't be riding him here. But yeah, I thought he was a fair price at 5-1, and given he's the bigger price, I'd probably go with Space Traveller to run a decent race. Yeah.
Ben, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I was quite a fan of Top Rank. Top Rank. Yeah, it's won fresh twice, both starts. But yeah, I think you're quite sweet on Monhatham. Yeah, but yeah, Monhatham beat him in York last year, but that was only length. But then at the same time, he's Top Rank £6 worse off the weights this time. So that probably makes your case a little bit stronger for Monhatham, doesn't it? But at the same time, yeah, Top Rank's no mug. Won a grade 3 just after losing that race at York, and then came last behind Chemical. Beat about 5 lengths, but yeah, Top Rank.
Yeah, I think that was fair enough, wasn't it? That race was probably a little bit above the level that Top Rank could go.
Yeah, but still ran a decent enough race. But yeah, he might struggle to give the weight to Monhatham, and yeah, I think there might have been a bit of word earlier for Father Jazz. I think the jockey's a bit keen to be going back down to a mile after getting the arms pulled out of him last time in the Winter Derby.
Yeah, Callum Shepherd's really sweet on him, and I think obviously the time before he ran in the Derby, he looked like, wow, this horse is going to easily piss up in a Derby, and then, I mean, he was a bit too keen, but I don't think he was overly, and he probably wouldn't have won that anyway. Bounce the
interesting
Blues,
back down to a mile, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Bounce the Blues, I think, was probably distance is the thing there. She's probably a bit better over 7 furlongs. Whether she's good enough to win the race, yeah, maybe, but probably if it was over 7. Montatham, obviously, as we've discussed, I love his chances in this. He gave £1 to Top Rank at York, gets £5 back this time, so he's on a net 6. He ran in the Cambridgeshire last time and was disappointing, but the thing that I noticed watching back there is that he ran in the far side group, and the horse that finished first in the far side group actually finished 13th in the race, so it was clearly the wrong side to be on. I'd completely forgive that one for him. And yeah, to be honest with you, I've no idea why they're a similar price. I'd have Montatham half the price of Top Rank based on just solely on the weights. And I think it's a very good bet. Obviously, it would be brilliant to see one of the Sheikh Hamdan horses running with the sad news of his passing the other day.
Yeah, awful.
Yeah.
All scored, they're all connected.
Oh, I've spoke to a few of his staff at Shadwell the other day. I was just emailing them after the news broke, and they seemed like they absolutely loved him. So good fella.
Yeah, from what I was reading and seeing on Twitter and stuff, he was very well respected and stuff. And nobody had really a bad word to say about him. I know that's obviously no one's going to go out and say anything now, but I think he was genuinely a really, really well liked person from what I was seeing.
Cool. Right, we'll move on anyway. So Montatham for me, and for Dan it was.
I'll go with Space Traveller, giving these 5-1.
And Ben.
Top Rank for me.
Top Rank, unbelievable. Right, moving on to the Spring Mile.
Have to have a bit of contrast, like.
Oh, I'll happily have a match.
No more match bets. The last time we had a match bet, my horse fell, and you know what? This is a flat race, and it probably still would fall.
Right, we'll go on to the Spring Mile. I'll say my little bit first because it won't be much. The main thing I've got noted down here is that I could make a case against most of the runners, but not for, which is never really how you want to go into a race. The only one that I did highlight is Mustawa. I think D'Souza will be riding. He'll want to lead with him, and the only thing is he's got a career high mark. I think he's 87 or 88. He'll be here, so he'll have to improve past what he's done to win. But like, he's 18 to 1, and you've got the absolute king of riding out a horse to his fullest potential on board there. If you're having any horse that you're going to try and nick it off the front, you want D'Souza on, don't you? So, 18 to 1. His last 10 runs, he's been no worse than 5th, so he's going to give you a run for his money. Apart from that, I'll hand it over to you guys.
I don't know much to say. I actually don't. I forgot. I didn't get a chance to write the name of this horse down because I wanted to see the decks this morning. The one Paul Hannigan's on, that's the one that I'm going to take a chance on. Can't remember the name. I looked at it about 10 minutes.
Amazing.
Yeah. I'll take a chance on that one. But look, as we said before, this is a race full of like all other horses who have been running in like Newcastle and Chelmsford and stuff over the winter. Like, so, yeah, as you said, that you can probably make a case against a lot of them. It's not a race that I'm going to get invested in, but if I was to have it better, it'd be the one Hannigan's on.
Dan,
some inspiration.
I say I'm a little bit sweeter on one. I'm not really, but I was sweet on Acquitted last year for the Hugo Palmer yard. I mean, he's the favourite now. I did not expect him to be favourite when they priced him up. I thought he'd be a double figure price myself, but seeing that he's now about 6 to 1, the price doesn't excite me very much in this blooming 22 runner race like. But his run behind Palace Pier at Newcastle over a mile was a brilliant run. I mean, Palace Pier is obviously absolute dead cert that day on his handicap debut. This lad was really well backed against him. The market vibes were really strong for him, and he was at the furlong pole, and he was 3 lengths ahead, and you just thought, he's going to do this. What's going to happen here? Palace Pier was getting scrubbed along, and he only picked him up in the last, going into the last furlong. He did pick him up really well. And won easily in the end. He was just a horse that just needed a bit of, scrubbing along. But you did get a little bit twitchy if you'd have backed Palace Pier at the prices. Acquitted ran that day. He ran off of a mark of 89. He was getting £9 from Palace Pier. So obviously, and Palace Pier beat him comfortably by, 3 1/4. But the fact that he took 3 lengths, the jockey definitely went too early, Ben Curtis, that day. He was still travelling the best. He travelled like the best horse in the race. And he obviously was getting the £9, but Palace Pier's rated 125. He went and won a Group 1 after the St James's Palace, another Group 1 as well in France. He's a very good horse, isn't he? This Palace Pier, and given it this lad's running off a 91. The time after he went and ran over a mile 2, forget about that. It was on soft ground. He finished last. He was shocking. He was then dropped back down to the mile on good firm ground at Sandown behind Montatham, funnily enough. He was again pretty well back that day. He was only about 5.5 to 1 for marker 93. Didn't run very well there. I think you can put a line through it. I think it just didn't work out after that big performance that he put up at Newcastle. They were 2 quick runs as well. He's had a break here. I think he comes back, and I'm not surprised to see him. I think he'll probably be pretty well back, given that James Doyle has been jocked up on him. Off a marker 91, he's very, very interesting. He's definitely could be a 3-figure horse here. So if there's one in there that's, could blow them apart, it could be this lad. I like the ones at the top of the weights. It's usually the way I'd look. I like Artistic Rifles for Andrea Zany. Obviously, Edward Bethel's not a very big yard. He's booked at Zany to ride. Now, Artistic Rifles came over from France. He's had 2 runs so far in Britain. He beat Dawali by nose, who also runs in this race, I think, off a mark of 85. He's only £1 higher for that. I thought he just did enough that day. It didn't seem like he was all out, but he just did enough, I thought. And then he went on and ran again back in February. Had a break, and he doesn't usually run. I think he gets tired after a break, because if you look at his form in France, he'd have a break, come back, sort of hit the front, and then stop and finish 3rd or 4th. You know what I mean? But he'd always travel well and hit the front. He did exactly the same thing when he was at Newcastle. The comments just said, close up, he was shaking up to make his challenge, and he just weakened inside the final furlong. He was only beaten 1.5 lengths by United Front, who's a decent horse, progressing well this season. He's off the same mark here, and I thought it was very interesting that Andrea Zany was booked up for him. So they were the 2 that I picked out the field. Yeah, that was it really. I thought Arctic Vega's obviously interesting. You know, he's got £5 claimer on William Carver. He won off a 77. He's only gone up 4, takes off 5, so he's a pound lower. That's interesting, but it wasn't in class 4 race.
I've actually looked at that one, so it is as well. Yeah,
it was just the weight that put me off. He's an 81 rated horse. I think you need a bit of. You almost need to, be pushing the boundaries of getting into the big race to be winning this myself. I think anyway. And that's what put me off him. But he's got a good chance if he reproduces that form. But yeah, the two for me would be Acquitted and Artistic Rivals. It is.
Cool. And it was Amazement for Ben, yeah?
Yeah.
And Mostawa for me. I think looking at it, like a lot of the early season handicaps, it looks pretty hard to solve. So if we get a top 3 between us, I'll be pretty happy there, I think. Right.
Round of applause all round.
Yeah. Moving on to the big one of the day, the Lincoln, the Doncaster Lincoln, however you want to call it. Right, I've got a couple of stats for this one to amaze you all. 16 of the last 17 winners carried 9.4 or less, which is interesting because the second favourite's carrying 9.5. 15 of the 17 have won over at least a mile, so you want a horse that will definitely stay the mile. And only 7 of the last 17 winners have come from the top 3 in the betting, so you don't necessarily want the short ones, but they do well sometimes. Right, who wants to kick us off? Ben?
Yeah, I don't have much to say, only that I thought Haikiki was absolutely thrown in here. With the Benoit,
Benoit, did I say
Benoit. Wow, that's the one. Yeah,
it's a sexy name.
If you ever come up with that name, it's a fucking good one.
It's certainly not a name that would suit any of us.
Yeah, I think he's been thrown in. Looks after the claimer on, he's £1 higher than last time. Victor at 7 furlongs. Looks well handicapped, yeah, but big fleet handicaps, I guess here you always got a bit of luck in running, don't you? Like, so either 28 months it could be an absolute disaster or an absolute fucking piss up, like, do you know what I mean? But yeah, in my eyes, yeah, I thought he should take a lot of beating, but yeah, I think the one I looked at the price when we Grove Ferry might run well at the price.
Hey, ding, 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 ding.
Are we on the money? Are we talking along the same wavelengths?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, he was the big one I looked at as well.
Yeah, I looked at
21.
Yeah. 12s last night when I was looking. 20 to 1 now.
Yeah, he's drifted out. He's 20 to 1 now, which is a very fair price for me.
Yeah, it was 12s last night when I was looking at it, but yeah, Hakiki for me. Yeah, that's about all I've got to say.
He's got a good draw, Hakiki, isn't he? I think Grove Ferry's drawn in the middle as well, which is sort of really where you want to be, I think. Especially early season, when you don't even know the bias. I would have thought middle, you can't really go wrong. You sort of get to choose what you want to do. But yeah, Hakiki could be pretty well handicapped, couldn't he? I mean, well, he is well handicapped, really.
It's just if he produces it, that's good enough to beat this lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's just whether his mark of 100 is his ceiling, which if it is, the £7 they claim off is obviously very good. I wouldn't be put off by the fact he's got a £7 claim on him, because I think John Gosden just loves this lad, doesn't he? And you can see why. He's a very good jockey. For £7 claimer, he's class.
He was in Ruby Walsh's top 5 apprentices to watch on Racing TV.
He will not be claiming that for long, so it's not a surprise they'll use him for these handicaps. You could see him picking up a nice few winners with that claim, you know what I mean? That's one. That's it. I'll keep an eye on him throughout the season. I don't think he'll be riding much on the all-weather now, let's put it that way.
7-4 champion apprentice, I think I saw the other day.
What was Alex Jarry at?
The only thing is with the champion apprentice,
6-4 Alex Jarry.
Give me the wheelbarrow of that. Come on. Give me some of that.
The thing is with Hakiki is that they went. I thought they went pretty hard out in front the last day when he beat Colt front. He was slowly away. He came through, one going away. I thought it could have flattened him a little bit. Whether he was that good, I don't know. But obviously with the John Gosden yard, that £8 could be absolutely laughed off. So given he's claiming 7, would give him a big chance. The only other thing with him is the only other time he ran at a mile, he was last. So that would put me off a little bit. I don't know what happened there, but he was pretty well fancied that day, and he was battered. Eastern World has shot through, hasn't he, to sort of pick up favouritism nearly now. I don't know about him. I couldn't really pack him at that price. Brentford Hope is one that, he was anti-post favourite for a long time, Brentford Hope, at around the 6-1 mark. But he's came out now. Jamie Spencer's obviously going to ride. They thought this thing was a group horse, didn't they, last season? He absolutely just waltzed in at Haydock off a mark of 91, ran brilliant. The heavy ground would have done him that day, I would imagine. Maybe he's a heavy ground horse because
I was going to say, is he ground dependent?
Yeah,
that was my worry with Brentford.
Yeah, I think the time he ran on good, he was well fancied, and he was beaten a long way. He travelled well still, but he just whether he picks up as well on good ground, I don't know. But he's one to keep an eye on because they think he's better than a mark of 99. Obviously, you mentioned Grove Ferry. He's a big price at 20s. He'd be the one I'd put up at a big price because William Carver's, we mentioned him a couple of times here, but he's taken off the £5. He won off 95. It was only 4-runner race the last day, but he seems pretty straightforward, Grove Ferry. You can just crack on with him and, he'll give you a good race. So he's basically off the same mark as what he won the last day. This is far more competitive, but, he could give you a good run for your money. I didn't think he was a 20-1 shot, but for me, King Ottakar is really interesting here because he was running last season. He started off last season off a mark of 106. He started this season off a 99. He dropped down from group races, ran in a handicap 2 starts ago, didn't get a clear run, just finished well. And basically the same thing happened the last day when he was last seen in October last year.
It was the exact same thing, wasn't it? And he was drawn the wrong side at Ascot as well.
Yeah, he was a big eye catcher both times, and he got dropped for both of those runs. He's been dropped £3. So, you could arguably say he was better than the finishing result both times, yet he's lost £3 off his back. So I just thought, good ground, the mile, if they go pretty quick, which you'd expect him to go fair gallop. I thought this lad had a stonking chance if he got a good time of it. Obviously, he's drawn in stall 4, so if there is a bias to the other side, we're knackered basically. But if it favours that side, or if it's sort of quite even, if he gets the gaps, this thing was a group horse last year. This thing beat. Did he beat Dashing Willoughby? Only last year or the year before. He was really, really, really highly thought of,
wasn't it?
By Charlie Fellows, wasn't he? Now he's running in a handicap. I mean, he's got to have a chance, hasn't he? So he'd be the one for me at the price, and then, Grove Ferry at a bigger price as well.
He could be chucked in, couldn't he?
Yeah, he definitely could be, yeah.
I was going to go through a whole thing about King Oscar, but you've already covered everything for me there. I think he'll go really well. The one thing that did worry me is that I think Charlie Fellows had an article up on the Tote website today, and I was looking through thinking, oh, please ride him closer up, because he seems to get a bit behind, but they're going to ride him patiently again, so I think he could run into a bit of trouble, which put me off a little bit. Of the others, I think Ascension could run well, but he'd probably want a bit more give in the ground. I think it'd be half the price if this was run in October. The one horse, I suppose you've already gone over it again, but the horse that I think is absolutely laid out for the race is Hakiki. I think is, as good as a favourite can be in a Lincoln. I think you've got one there. Obviously, he beat Eastern World before Eastern World's beat him. Of the latest runs, what one were we looking at here? Is the one that was here at Doncaster, wasn't it, when Cold Front was in second? Hakiki was 13 lengths ahead of Eastern World that day. Eastern World was giving him £2. So, I mean,
they must have thought that he didn't run his race there. Definitely.
Yeah, so you would think there'd be obviously on the paper there's a £4 switch around, but because
you wouldn't have a favourite, would you?
No, because of the claimer, Hakiki's better off for beating Eastern World 13 or 14 lengths. So I've no idea how you can make him favourite. Eastern World obviously won that handicap at Meydan. I thought it was quite a weak race, to be honest. I don't think much of the form there.
I don't like that form either when they come over from Meydan. I don't like it when they come over.
In particular, even with Eastern World having run here, obviously, for most of his runs, all the Godolphin horses that run in Meydan win or place and then come back over here have a pretty terrible record first time out here. Yeah. So I wouldn't necessarily be too keen on him. Again, it's one of those races where you wouldn't be necessarily surprised to see something at a bigger price. But I think Hikiki, with the claimer on board, I think they've absolutely laid him out for this race, and you can see why the market support is 7-2 short enough to be taken in a race like this, but I can't see anything that will beat him, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so I'm going to go Hikiki. Ben, you're Hikiki, are you?
Hikiki, yeah.
Dan, King
Hikiki.
Ottica?
Yeah, we'll go with him, yeah.
Cool. Right, so we'll go to the Cambridgeshire Trophy, which I really want to call the Cambridge Trophy, but it's not.
That's what I thought it was when I first looked at it.
Yeah, I thought I just miswritten it, but I clearly hadn't.
We haven't spoken about any of this, but I know who Dan's going to pick.
Go on.
Okay, tell us who Dan.
Summergand.
No.
Summergand.
No.
He is. You know what? He could easily win one of these because he has the talent to be able to win one of these races easily. But he just, I thought he ran a great race the last day. Finished second. I thought he did brilliant. Really, I wasn't expecting Streamline to do as well as he did. I thought, it was just one of them things. One was just too better, well handicapped on the day. He still ran a blinder. The RPR of 114 there, and he did on his previous start before that as well. So that would put him in with a right shout here. Just Frank, no, I couldn't have him myself. He gets again another 3-year-old here that gets weight, but I just wasn't sure. I'm just not sure how the form will stand up. This is all about Brando. I know the only thing is with Brando, right? If there was a bit of rain, this thing would be a good thing. Just absolute good thing if this thing came out of the stalls, because he is by far the best horse in this race by a fair few pounds.
Wasn't he? He hasn't won. He's only won once in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Is it once in the last 22 races? Something
that's
along
the
them
only
lines?
thing.
May 2018, I think.
But he was still second in a Group 1 2 starts ago. These wouldn't get anywhere near getting second in a Group 1. I mean, it was the Champion Stakes that was Champion Sprint that was in second.
It was 80-1, wasn't it?
Yeah, he really was really unlucky. He nearly won it. Like you're basically near enough saying, this is a Grade 1 winner. 2 starts ago, running in a listed race against a horse rated 101, against a horse rated 109 that never wins, against a horse rated 100, 101, Tis Marvellous at 105, 104, 99, 96, 103, and 78. Like, you look at it like that, 5-2. Yeah, thanks very much. I'll take that all day long.
Do you think he'd want the softer ground, though? He tends to run on softer
ground. That's the only thing. Back in the day, he would have been fine on this ground, but it's just whether he needs that cut in the ground. If he doesn't, and obviously the last day, forget about that, because he missed the break. How he finished 4 lengths behind was very impressive, because he absolutely threw the race away. If this horse has, what would you say, 85% of the ability that it used to have, or that it had 2 starts ago, he'd go mighty close in this. 5-2. It's very tempting, because I think he's just, maybe even it doesn't matter about the good ground, he could just do them anyway, because these bunch are not great. But the one, obviously Summergand, he's got a very good each way chance, but whether it's just, he doesn't win, does he? Tis Marvellous is one at a price. He goes well on this ground, and I think he could have a chance. He's a good horse. He's obviously rated fast, £11 inferior to Brando off levels, but Adam Kirby's up and he gets on well with the horse. So at an each way price, but I can't get away from Brando. I just think he's the best horse in the race. I think if he breaks fine, even as a 9-year-old, he could probably do these.
Yeah, he's definitely, like, if he turns up in the form of 2 starts to go, there's only one winner. But then, you just don't know if horse is going to turn up. He's been so unpredictable. If
they blame the ground, then look, they can blame the ground. That they have that excuse. But if he can't win this race, what are they going to do? Because this is about as bad a race he'll run in all year if he runs in group company. He won't get a better chance.
Dan, are you just passionate about Brando as you are Santini?
No, I just think in these races, sometimes we think, I've got to go against him. And, on the day you think, oh my God, he's gone off bloody 7-4.
He's pissed up by 2 lengths.
Yeah, and on Thursday I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, come on, he did 2 second in a champion sprint 2 starts ago. I just think.
Yeah, no, like I would actually, I totally agree with you. Hello. See, last night when I was sitting, I was in the exact same mindset as you. Like, no, I'm going to take him on because, like, do you know what I mean? Your natural instinct is just like, okay, let's take him on. But
Yeah, that's it.
and the one I come up with was with Nahar. I think James Doyle's on it. Yeah, I know he's 4. He was 4th. He's like 4-4 last time at Chelmsford, I believe it was.
Was that Nahar?
Yeah, or is it the favourite?
No, he didn't. He just run.
Is he not runner?
Nahar. Oh yeah, he doesn't run. So Brando it is. Don't worry about it.
So this shows I've done this last night. I've been flat out today, so I haven't had a chance to look. I didn't even realise he was still in the race. That puts my notes up in the thin air. Then I thought this horse was let out. You know, the nice reappearance last time, and I thought he was going to come and win this. But okay, yeah, Brando, let's go all aboard the Brando Express.
Yeah, I can see.
I would need to make sure I check before we come on next time to make sure he's actually declared. I thought I checked earlier and he was declared.
I can see the case you're making for Brando. It does just worry me that he's only won once in a couple of years. That would just be what puts me off. If you were to add the weight, well, compare the weight difference between Just Frank and Brando. If you add the £13 onto his rating, that would make Just Frank 114 and Brando 116. So they're pretty close. They're pretty closely matched. The one thing that would lean me towards Just Frank is that he's a 3-year-old, so he's on the up, whereas Brando is probably on the down.
Definitely, yeah. I just wasn't sure about his form.
Just Frank was the other one I had down on my page, but I was more going for the other winner, like, so maybe outside with Just
He
Frank.
was beaten by that lippy thing.
Zana,
I thought that was an absolute donkey last year in terms of O'Brien horses. I thought,
in terms of O'Brien horses,
yeah. He's still going to be big.
That Libazanga got beat at 2-5 in the first day of racing that Nace or Navan or something last year. I remember.
I thought he was a bit
I know, but I just remember watching it because that back day, that horse went to Australia. Now is it Sir Dancelot or O'Brien used to have Sir Lancelot? No, Sir Dancelot, or what's the name of the horse? Got beat 4-6. No, there was a horse with O'Brien that ran on that card. And that's where I remember Libazan because I was watching it.
Yeah, I've got it in my head, but I can't get it out. But yeah,
do you know?
I know what you're talking about, but yeah, no,
Sir Dragonet.
Sir Dragonet.
Hey.
Yeah, the Derby winner after winning at Chester and then doing nothing.
Won the fucking Chester Vase doing fucking cartwheels.
Yeah, I like Just Frank though. I think at the prices, I'd rather take 5-1 when I have the two closely matched. That would just be a play at the prices. I can't see anything else beating them. I don't think Summerhand will be good enough based on that second last time. Ainsdale was put up £5 for win the 3 runner race on heavy. I don't think the others will get close. I think it'll be between the two. I could see either of them winning, but just at the prices, I'd rather play Just Frank. Right, last 3 races at Donny. We'll do these all together because I'm not sure who will have what. Have you got any fancies, either of you?
No, nothing from me really. After them races, after the race with Brandon, I went on to have a wee look at the Meydan, so nothing from me at the rest of Donny.
And if you, Dan?
Well, I mean, this now with William Haggis having such a great start, I mean, this Duchamp looks very interesting, doesn't he? He was second on his debut last season, ran to an RPR of 86. He can go anywhere near that. He'll probably win this. I'm not sure what price he'll be. I thought Line of Descent was one to watch in that race too. 5-2.
Forecast. It's not out yet, but it's the forecast, yeah.
5-2.
Duchamp, yeah.
What? Oh, right. Oh, well, he's a bit of a bet then, I think, at 5-2 if he's that price, because he ran a great race on his debut. If he's learnt from that, he'll be going very close in this. I thought he'd be shorter than that anyway, but I can't remember if I had anything else for the other two. I don't think I did. I'll come back to if I did, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I'll quickly highlight a couple of the ones that I thought had a decent chance. That same race, the 420, I quite like 7-0, John Gosden's horse. Obviously, that man, Benoit de la Sayette, is on board again. He was second on heavy ground at Newmarket, and he was pretty green that day. And I thought it was a pretty decent novice. He's by See the Stars, so he'll much prefer this kind of ground.
See the Stars.
And he'll obviously prefer the step up and trip based on that as well. So I think he'll go well. And then one that I thought is absolutely class placement by Richard Hughes in the last race. I think it's the second division of the Apprentice handicaps. It's a horse called Charlie Arthur. Now I've no idea what the price will be, to be honest with you. But he's been running on turf last season, but not recently. I think it was June or July. He's got turf rating of 68, and he's been running pretty well on the all-weather since that. He's had 4 seconds, and then last time out he won by 6.5 lengths at Southwell. He absolutely reared up at the start and still somehow won, which, they never come from behind at Southwell. That was off a mark of 79, and he's got a turf mark of 68. Tyler Hurd can only claim 3 in this race, but I think that is, if there's any hidden gems in Britain on Saturday, I think that's a class little one. Charlie Arthur in the last race.
What's that? Is that going off 65 then?
68.
But he takes £3 off. So yeah.
Take the 3 off 65.
Yeah, and he won off 79, but claiming 7, I think. So 72.
So still, you
nine
put £7
pounds.
in hand anyway. Yeah.
7 is it? Yeah, it is.
65, 72, yeah, 7.
Yeah. So
okay, let's lump on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, be careful. His best flat RPR is 67. So maybe he just doesn't like the flat.
Positivity. He's gonna win.
Well, all in me.
Benoit for the treble, boys. Come on.
I don't know what price he'll get there, but yeah, I mean, he should be at fair price. So.
I just said Benoit for the treble. He's not even on that one. He's on the one. I just realised it. Tyler Hurd for the win.
Yeah, that would be Phoenix Aquilus. Aquilius will do your Charlie Arthur on the line then. Landed Benoit treble.
Right, just to finish up, we'll go to each of you. Have you got any fancies for anywhere else across the weekend?
Yeah, I well, go ahead, Dan.
No, go for it. I'm trying to find.
I had looked at Meydan. I got a couple at Meydan. Did you buy Gold Cup? I think it's between the top 2 in the market. Subjectivist is a good horse. I think it beat Princess Zoe last time at Deauville in France. Yeah, on unexposed 2 miles. I think it's the most race has 1 mile 6. So, yeah.
What horse was that? Sorry,
Subjectivist.
Okay, yeah. I will just add in there because I've also picked one out in that race and it isn't subjectivist, so I may as well just mention that now. I like Global Heat in this. He finished strongly in the Nadal Sheba Trophy. I think that was over 1 mile 6, just beaten by the other one in this race, Volcanic Sky, I think it is.
14 to 1 it is, yeah.
2-3 more strides, he would have probably won that. So I think the step up in trip will go pretty well. And Frankie's on board for Saeed again. So 10 to 1,
Frankie.
I think Global Heat. Not a bad bet in that. Sorry, and I'll let you carry on with the rest of yours.
No, you're fine. Yeah, the favourite Secret Advisor got race fitness and around the Meydan a couple weeks ago, but Subjectivist is getting £6 here, and that might make all the difference on a horse who's much younger than some of these and has potential for improvement. So yeah, I'm gonna take a wee bet in it. Also, just like to mention my good friend Mogul, a cliff horse of mine. I backed him every time. I'm not going to stop now. I was a wee bit encouraged this morning when I seen Paul Smith had it on Twitter. We video of him trotting about in Meydan, and
he looked well. He looked very well.
He doesn't look as fat as he did in Royal Ascot last year. Was it in the Prince of Wales? Wasn't it? No.
I think a few starts in. I mean, even across his whole career, you think, this horse he'll do better next year. And I think Aidan said that from 2 to 3, he'll do better. From 3 to 4, he'll do better. So
yeah. But I think the first time I backed him last year wasn't that Prince of Wales and at Ascot, wasn't it? I think it was. Can't remember now. Can't remember off the top of my head exactly, but yeah. And I looked at him and I was like, looked in paddock and I was like, this horse has got absolutely no chance. But yeah, I think so. It looked quite encouraging this morning that he was looking in good nick, and he won in Shatin just before Chris.
Shatin.
Yeah, so yeah. I'm going to take a chance on Mogul. But really good race that against Mishriff, and there's also a horse in the middle. Split name in the market, a horse from Japan, I believe. So, yeah, sets up to be a good race that. But, yeah, that's all I've got. From Meydan. Anyone else got anything spectacular?
Not Meydan, no.
I'll quickly do mine from Meydan because I had 2 others that I quite like the look of. Magny Cause in the World Cup, Andre Fab's horse. the thing that I like about him is that he never really goes out and smashes his races. In a couple of starts, I think he ran at Chantilly on debut this season, and then over here last season as well. You know, he just does enough. The one thing with him is that he's just got to prove it on dirt because he's obviously never raced on dirt. But I think it's a good bit of value against the American horses I mentioned to you earlier, Ben, that I think, you know, they all just beat each other, don't they? So Magny-Cours could be an outsider at 12s. And then one that I thought is an absolute stonking bet, which never goes well when I think this, is Yaupon, I think you'd pronounce it, in the 240, the Golden Shaheen. Joel Rosario's on board this time around. He was 3 from 3 going into the Breeders' Cup Sprint, I think it was, that he ran in. And, you know, he was still a way back, but he was cruising when they came into the straight, then sort of catching up to the leaders, and 2 horses from one side and 1 from another just went straight across him, which completely ruined his race. And that was dangerous riding, to be honest with you. But the way he was going, he could have easily won that. And 7-2, I think, is a massive price against a lot of runners in here. That I could easily rule out half of these, and then looking at the rest of them, you could probably rule out half of them. So it's not a very deep race, and I think at 7-2, you're getting an absolutely crazy price. Whereas if he had won that last time out, it'd be 15-8, 7-4, 6-4 for this. So yeah, Yaupon. Anyone got anything from elsewhere?
Well, I mean, I love Lord Glitters. I'm glad he's actually, he won a Group 1, didn't he, last time? I know it was a bit of probably not the best one, but, I'm glad he's finally coming good now. Given his riding style, he's very tricky, really, isn't he? But Lord North, really, should be winning that, shouldn't he, on the ratings? He really should. He's only got Lord Glitters to beat, really. And like I said, I don't think that Grade 1 that he won last time out was that good. Lord North obviously disappointed on his last few starts last season, but he could just be good when fresh, They're going for this race. That's a bit of a tip in itself. I thought he'd probably win that if I was looking at Meydan. The rest, at Kempton, 215, United Front, who I mentioned earlier, stepped up a furlong in trip here. Still well handicapped. Got Josephine Gordon on board. It'll be interesting to see how he goes in that race. He's an 8-1 shot at the minute, so he's a pretty decent price. Misty Whiskey runs at the 325 at Newbury. That's that mare's novices hurdle thing, or handicap hurdle. She's still well handicapped off 124. She hit near enough every single hurdle last time out. Flew home. Hopefully the better ground will help her, and I think 5-1's a fair price about her. Then 3 others to mention. In 4 o'clock at Newbury, Kaluki, Richard Johnson rides him. Just a bit of an annoying horse, really. He's got some ability, but doesn't often show it. He drops in grade here. This is an easy race, really, for this, for the stuff he's usually running in. And I thought Kaluki would go very well there. At Newbury, 4:35, Naturally High. Keep an eye out for him for the Gary Moore yard. We saw that Natural History was a highly rated flat horse running over hurdles. I think this Naturally High is about 102 on the flat. Comes over from France, has group form. So it'd be very interesting to see how he goes. He probably won't be a betting proposition, but I'll be interested to watch him. And then John Bond, we haven't mentioned him yet, obviously, for...
John Bond.
Yeah,
he's declared.
Duvan's half brother, is it?
Brother, yeah. He's declared in the bumper.
Is it Duvan's full brother?
No, so he's declared in the bumper.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Duvan's half brother or brother. I'm not sure, but
brother, isn't he?
Is he? Yeah,
I mean, the amount I see online about him, I should know, really. But
yeah, I mean, he went for
570,000.
Yeah, and obviously
I already told you he's the winner of the bumper the other day. Remember? Classic getaway.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, yeah, not for.
Oh yeah, no, I want to mess him like with you.
He won't be running bumpers for long.
That's it. Definitely not his thing, is it? Bumpers. It's not going to be his thing. But it'd be interesting how he goes. He'll be absolutely no price, will he? Given the tag that he's got next to him, but. Hopefully he can win and win in decent style.
I think I'd be a bit concerned considering his point he won over 3 miles. So
yeah, I mean they don't win over 3, don't they? Really,
it could be a big boat like Santini.
He could, yeah.
Well, apparently, obviously, the word is that he is a
Oh
decent
yeah, he's meant
horse,
to be
isn't
really,
he?
really
Yeah,
good, isn't he? Like, yeah.
he's meant to be pretty smart. So hopefully, he can show it on the track. I just thought I'd give him a mention, and then my good old mate here, 320 at Kempton, Crantop Bay, he's got to get off the mark at some point. I mean, he's so annoying. He just gets no look. He's officially rated 70. You know, just this horse,
Just
this
likes to
horse.
be in the pack, doesn't he? He doesn't want to win.
Oh, the thing is with him, he just gets absolutely no run ever, and he always finishes with an absolute ton left. You know, it's ridiculous. I was interested in Biggles in this race because he was decent. He was well back last time. He was pretty tamely handled, but that sort of point, he didn't run very well. It's sort of, you know, I think they're looking for handicaps with him, if I'm being honest. The rest, I didn't really think much of. So I thought Richard Kingscote getting booked for George Scott here. You know, if he can run to an RPR within the mid ones, too many national hunt, but within the mid 70s, he'll probably win this race. And I just thought with the experience, you know, he's got the experience in here. Be interested to see what price he is, but I think, you know, he should probably be around favourite, given that I know his record isn't great. He still obviously hasn't won yet, but the amount of times where this horse really has just been very unlucky. I was glad to see Richard Kingscote get the leg up, and I thought he'd probably win that, to be honest. If there's not one decent in there, and I don't really see any horses that stand out to me. The trainers' names are not really. The only one was Biggles, and he ran poor the last day. So yeah, I thought he'd probably look. If you can't win that, forget about it, really. So, but yeah, that was it.
Any more, Ben?
No, that's me.
No, I'll just to run on a little bit longer. I'll only be another minute or so. Brooms entered on Sunday in the listed race back at 1 mile 2. He obviously won a couple of good fairly decent group threes at 1.25 miles. Come up short a couple of times at 1.5 miles since, and then for some reason they thought, oh, he doesn't get the 1.5 miles. We'll stick him over 2 miles in the long distance cup. So that was stupid. So it's good to see him back at 1.25 miles. I think he'll run really well, but whether he runs, I'm not so sure at the moment. I haven't seen any quotes. And then there's a Group 3 just after that, and there's a horse in there called Elara, something like that.
Sorry, George. Is that at Nace? Is that an Irish meeting on Sunday? Isn't there?
Yes.
No?
Yeah. Nathan Sunday.
Yeah.
She won a maiden at Leopardstown. She was eased right down. She looked pretty impressive that day, and she's got a age allowance, I think, here in this listed race. So I think she'll go really well, and she's proven on the ground. Apart from that, Greek Kodiak on Monday with our boy Alex Gowrie on board.
Go on, the Alex boy.
Obviously, we are the founding members of the fan club, so we'll be cheering him on as long as he's chalked up on Monday. And then on Tuesday,
I was wondering if he was going to get a mention. I didn't want to excite myself too much. I was like, we're going to give the Greek Kodiak a mention.
On Tuesday, Michael Bell's got another one, interesting one in the what is it? Flat race at Fakenham.
Yeah,
over a couple of miles. Nice filly in
2
there.
mile. Yeah,
it's the only national hunt horse that he's got, so she could be quite good. And they booked Dickie Johnson, according to the race card. So, I mean, she could go really well. And I think that's about it. So we'll wrap it up. We've been a little while.
What are we having what do you want? A nap and the next best, or a nap, or what?
Are we going? Well, are we go? I think you said earlier we're going to start maybe run a wee nap competition.
We'll give a nap and the next best, and then the nap counts towards the competition. Point win or half a point each way, and then we'll figure out some sort of forfeit at the end of the season.
And I'm not like Ollie Bell and Chris Hughes not getting into a nice bath.
Oh no, it'll be way worse than that. But yeah, so we'll go for our naps. I'll pop them up on the screen in a little league table, and we'll go from there. So who wants to start? Who wants to go first?
Kiki in the ranking. 1 point win.
We're going to do these. We do these at SP just to make it easier. I suppose it's probably the best thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dan?
I will go. I can't go in the link, and I won't go there.
You're afraid of Kiki, that's why.
Yeah, I think the 235, I think acquitted, has got a very good chance if he shows his true form off that marker 91. So he's a good price at the minute. Like, he's a good price. I say I'd have thought he would have been bigger, but he's a fair price. Like, so yeah, I'll go with acquitted. 235 Doncaster acquitted.
235 Doncaster, cool. And on the first day of the British flat season, I'm going to pick out a horse running in Meydan. Just to be a bit boring.
Here we go.
I think Yalpon in the Golden Shaheen. I mean, I really hope he goes off at 7-2 because that's a cracking price. We'll probably come back and unbottom on a 5-4 winner, but Yalpon in the Golden Shaheen at Meydan will be my nap of the week, and we'll go through and just pick a next best just for a bit of fun. Who do you reckon?
Subjectivist for me in that Gold Cup with that 2-miler in Meydan. There's the two bets I'm having this weekend, plus my wee saver mogul, but I'm not advising anyone to have that bet. But that's just me because I followed him from day dot. I'm not gonna pack it in now.
Cool, Dan.
We go with him. We'll go with Brando. Come on, Marlon. Yeah. 345 all the way.
I'll have Charlie Arthur in the last race in the apprentice race, which hopefully Benoit doesn't win. I've honestly no idea what price he'll be, so I can't advise anything. But I think it's a great bit of placement by Richard Hughes. Cool. All right, we got through the first day. We're under an hour, so well in, chaps. We'll keep working on it.
We'll keep on getting it down and down. We'll have to split it into 2 videos anyway out there.
I'll have the naps up on the screen for everyone now, just so we can see, and we'll come back this time next week to see who's top in the table, or more likely than not, everyone's on -1. Cool. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you find a winner or two at the weekend. Don't punt too heavily, being the first week, and yeah, enjoy the flat season. Good thumbs up.
Thumbs up for the weekend.
Cool. Right. Bye.
Steam ahead.